What's up guys, my name is Rob, this is Decoded, and today we're talking about some of the really exciting features coming to Blender in the very near future. It's only been 4 months since Blender's huge 2.81 release officially dropped, but the dev team has been working hard on another update and it's packed with a ton of great tools. 2.81 is expected to be released sometime in November, possibly within about a week of this video coming out. So in no particular order, here's my top 5 favourite features coming to Blender very soon. And the first one for me is going to have to be the Remesh tool. Guys, this one is a big game changer. Okay, let's say we've got a scenario where we have like a cylinder. And I'm going to duplicate this, rotate it, scale it down a little. Okay, and I'm going to use a boolean just to join these two together, right? So we're going to set this to union and apply it. And then I'm just going to get rid of that other mesh. Okay, so if we wanted to sculpt on this and use it as a base mesh, we really couldn't. If we control and press 2 to add subdivision surface, it looks horrible, right? We can't do that at all. If we go into the sculpting tools and we try and like smooth out these edges, then Blender doesn't understand what the hell we want to do and it just doesn't work. If we turn on Dino Topo, then that doesn't really work either. If we like that does the exact same thing. It doesn't work. So let's turn Dino Topo off, and there's two ways that we can access these new tools, the Remesh tools. We can either add a modifier for Remesh, or if we open up this panel, the Object Data panel, there's also an option for Remesh. Now you can see here there's two different modes, there's Voxel and there's Quad. You'll probably find yourself using Voxel most of the time during your workflow while you're like sculpting or whatever, and you'll use Quad at the end to do like final retopology. Okay, so I'll just show you how this works. If we change the voxel size down to like something like 0.05, what it does is it completely ignores the current topology and it only looks at the shape, it looks at the volume of what you've got, and it tries to turn that into a mesh. So if we just press that remesh, it's pretty instant. And in edit mode, you can see now we have pretty nice sculptable base here. We have quads, everything is quads. And if we wanted to smooth out that edge now, we can do that no problem. The whole thing smooths out really, really nice. And it gives you a good base to start working on sculpting. And you can keep building this up and then just hit it again. And it'll keep giving you these quads, and all the quads, it tries to make them the same size, so you get this really, really nice topology all over your mesh. Once you were finished with something like this, if you wanted to like UV unwrap it and you wanted a final topology, then you could go to quads, and what this does is it basically modifies your existing topology to have like a better flow. So if we just press this, and I'll keep it on the defaults, it does take a second to work on that. But you should see that I'll have like a better, like something that would be better to unwrap and like as a final topology. Okay, so then you get something like this. And I think it looks really good. It's an incredible tool for your workflow. So that's an exciting one for the future. The second tool, or set of tools I should say, is just the sculpting features in general. Like anyone who's used the grab tool before, like knows that it used to always be horrendously sluggish. They've made a few tweaks and changes to it, and now like this is like butter. It works so well compared to how crappy it used to be. It's absolutely unreal. There's also, if you ever wanted to rotate something in the past, where's the rotate tool at? Like you couldn't really do it. There was this rotate tool, but it just kind of like spirals the whole mesh. Now we have something called pose, which allows you to like deform it more like you can in other sculpting tools like ZBrush and Mudbox, where you can like select a limb and you can repose an entire limb. You can see it adds this white line and it uses the rest of the mesh basically to add like a limb to it. There's also, where's it at? Elastic deform. The way this works is it's kind of like the grab tool, but it takes into account the volume of the mesh. Okay, So it's just a little change there, but that's a really cool one. There's a load of other little changes that have been made to the sculpt tools, so you need to have a look at some of them. One of them that I think is really quite exciting is the fall offs. Okay, so if we press fall off under here, we have all of the standard different fall off types, okay, for sculpting. But now what we can also do is we can press custom, and we can make, like, this is a custom shape I made earlier on, and if we just use that brush, it gives us this shape. Okay, so you can make custom brushes really quickly to add any sort of shape that you want. So if you wanted to add, like, I don't know, they kind of look like suckers, I suppose, on a tentacle, you could just do that straight away. That's really cool too. The next one that I want to talk about is the poly build tool. Okay, so poly build is a retopology tool basically, and if I just add a plane into here, the way that this works, instead of building up topology like you normally would, if we press T to bring this sidebar up, you can find the poly build tool here now, and you can see whenever I go over an edge, it automatically highlights them in blue. Okay, and what we can do is just select this edge and drag. We can drag out new edges. So if you were doing retopology on like a character or something, you can quickly add new edges. The regular tools still work as you'd expect, so you can add loop cuts and things like that. You can probably see I'm getting this weird blue highlight sometimes, and what this is, if you press Control, then you can like just click and you can add in new polys. You can also press Shift and click and delete polys. So if you're doing retopology, this is going to be a really big time saving tool. The fact that you can just draw in topology like that is going to be a big one. The final one that I wanted to talk about here is the AI denoising tool. Okay, Intel made something called Open Image, which is a type of denoiser that uses AI to figure out where the noise is and remove it. It's been integrated into Blender and it works fabulously. Like the old denoiser that's built into Blender was okay, but this one is fabulous. Okay, so I actually already have an image rendered here, and it's just a Suzanne monkey head with a glass texture on a white background, and I've rendered it with very low samples, and as you can see, it looks like shit. It looks terrible, right? It's noisy as hell. I mean, I do have a tutorial which I'll link on how to make less noisy glass, but even still, with this low sample count, it looks terrible. So what we can do to make this better, if we, instead of turning on the denoising like we normally do, as you can see I left this off, but if we just turn on denoising data, okay, you can do this after the render as well, I haven't done this yet, turn on denoising data, and if we go up to the compositing nodes, okay, turn use nodes on, and I'm going to add in a viewer so we can see what we're doing here, okay, and just drag the image across. So there's our crappy noisy image, right? Well, what we've got now, if we do a search, we have a denoise node, and we're going to drop this in. We're going to connect the image to image. Denoising normal, we're going to connect up to this blue input here, and denoising albedo is going into the albedo, funnily enough. And you can see it says calculating on the bottom. Just wait a second while this figures out the denoising algorithm, and you're going to see that it works superbly well. What I'll do while that's working is just go over to here and open up the viewer node, and there we have it. It's denoised that. Let's bring up the render result as a comparison here. I mean, look at the difference in that, guys. Apart from denoising, it's done very little to the image, but it looks spectacular. Like, that is a super crappy image on the right, and it's made it look spectacular on the left. It does have a few issues compared to the regular denoiser. I mean, it works better at animations, but it's still not great at animations. And also it kind of changes the colour temperature a little bit. You can see the one on the left is a little bit more yellow, and sometimes the shadows aren't quite as dark, but basically it works great. It's absolutely fantastic and I love this tool. So those guys are my 5 favourite tools that are coming out in 2.81, but this is far from a complete list. There's changes being made to how transform works, origin, snapping. There's a whole load of new nodes coming. There's like a white noise node and things like that for cycles. There's been improvements to the speed of cycles. There's been improvements to how Eevee works and how it looks and how quick it is. There's all sorts of stuff coming. So 2.81, keep a lookout for it. The official release should be out very, very soon in the next few weeks. There'll probably be one in the next week, to be honest. You can get the alpha and beta builds of it, as always, on the Blender website. If you like this video, guys, please subscribe to this channel, give this video a like, and I'll see you around next time.